Pannonica de Koenigswarter was born into wealth and privilege, but devoted a substantial part of her life to helping jazz musicians, and in particular, Thelonious Monk. Although Pannonica didn't have the same direct influence on jazz that someone like Hammond did, her story is a fascinating one. Pannonica, who is often referred to as Nika, was born in 1913. Her mother was a Hungarian baroness, and her father was Charles Rothschild, a British baron. Reading of her life growing up, amid the trappings of almost unimaginable wealth, it sounds like a prison of sorts, where a young girl was discouraged from education or any of the normal childhood pursuits. The expectation was that she would marry a similarly upper-class man, which she did, and live out her life as a well-to-do wife and mother. On a trip to New York in 1948, Pannonica heard a recording of Thelonious Monk, shared with her either by Mary Lou Williams or Teddy Wilson. That triggered something in her, and she decided to stay in New York, leaving behind her husband and 5 children. The family disinherited her as a result, but she retained enough wealth to last the rest of her life. She eventually met Monk in 1954, later describing him as the most beautiful man she had ever seen. That led to a 28 period of devotion to Monk, in a relationship that seems hard to define. Monk remained married to his wife Nellie, who essentially shared the role of caretaker and protector. They sat next to each other at his funeral, and they were treated as if each were the widow. In Pannonica's case, there was a similarity between Monk and her father, who exhibited similar signs of mental illness and ultimately committed suicide when Pannonica was young. It is certainly the case that Pannonica found her life's purpose in her relationship with Monk and, by extension, with many other musicians of the bebop era. In 1958, she drove Monk to a gig in Delaware. The sight of the car and a mixed-race couple would have caused a lot of commotion at the time. When police stopped and searched, they found marijuana. Pannonica took the rap, declaring that it was hers, and she faced a 10-year prison sentence followed by extradition, but the search was ultimately decided to be illegal and the case was thrown out. Pannonica's suite in the Stanhope Hotel was a hang spot for musicians and a place to jam. Charlie Parker was watching TV there on the night that he died in 1955. With the publicity that followed Bird's death, the management asked her to move out. She first moved to another hotel, and then ultimately to a house in Weehawken, New Jersey. She had at least 100 cats, so it came to be known as the Cat House. Monk wrote a tune called Weehawken Madhouse. He was living there when he died in 1982. With her royal lineage and immersion in the jazz world, Nika came to be known as the Jazz Baroness. This book was researched and written by her great-niece Hannah, who was curious about the somewhat mythical stories she had heard about her great-aunt. Pannonica's name and nickname are the title of at least a dozen songs, including Pannonica by Thelonious Monk and Nika's Dream by Horace Silver. Tommy Flanagan titled one Thelonica, acknowledging the special relationship she had with Thelonious. A few years ago, as I was driving through the Leslieville neighborhood in Toronto, literally an hour after delivering this lecture, I was struck by the coincidence of spotting a tailor shop named Salonica, and I stopped to snap this shot. From the looks of the window, I doubt that it's still there.